all. Really humbled out with such a wonderful introduction from such a wonderful personality, whom I admire, would love to admire throughout my life. Thank you, sir. Actually, today I'm a little nervous. Normally I'm not, but for one reason, all the eminent speakers have really thrown me out of my flow. Starting from Lori, what a presentation, man, hats off, hats off. I'm appreciating a part of selfishness because we are physiotherapists. A sense of anti-altruism always prevails. Sense it. But again, an eminent person who has traversed for so many decades in surgery, Dr. A.K., with the speech, what maturity he had in every word he spoke and the way he highlighted. He never had any preparations, he just spoke like anything. And our Tamilar, Dr. Vetri Vendan, enna alaga pesinaru. I'm sorry I had to use this language because he really made all us proud by bringing that Tamil culture. He spoke about Tirumular, so fluently he spoke about Tiruvalluvar. And what else is left in me to talk? I should say, yes, do. Thank you. I don't have anything to speak except to say that I'm a physiotherapist working in a place where you have hundreds and thousands of patients pouring in. You cannot really think what he is and how he is, what should I do. Can you ever believe, Lori, we treat 7 to 8 ONE patients in 30 to 35 seconds. That should be a world record. It's horrible, man. I shouldn't say this. It's not a matter of pride, but we had to do it. We had 90 to 120 outpatients every day. So it's so crowded, but still, we are managing. Okay, having said this introduction, and to be very honest, to me, to my teachers, Ananda sir, Meena madam, Dayanidhi sir, for everyone, they have been teachers for me from 2006. Not a single slide I copied. You will understand why this fellow is giving such an introduction because you can see lots and lots of repetition because I'm the last speaker. So naturally there can be repetitions, but it's more or less, I don't know how it happened, it's more or less looks like lorries. So, the same formula. So I should, I'm starting this. Om Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. With due respects to all my teachers and the fantastic teachers to whom I am standing in front of you. 2006 I went and asked Meena madam teach. I went and stood in front of Dr. Ananda asking, sir, teach me yoga. I want to learn yoga. I have a lot of stress. He said, right, come. First you learn and then you start to practice. That's where everything changed in my life. You saw I was sitting in the last bench. I'm a backbencher. True, you can ask my friends. But from there to here, this wonderful transition. After which I went on to pursue my MPT, my PhD, and I'm training for my postdoc. I don't know how I will go to get it, but definitely they both deserve the credit. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm not trying to flatter them by telling this because they are here. They are always with me in every one of my presentations. When I put this slide, I think of sir and man. Okay. So having said this, any guess what is this place? What is this? Any guess? Any guess? Any one answer? So please come. It's a building. Okay. Let us see who gives the right answer. It's Ananda University. Okay. There are lots of myths and facts about Yogasanas. Okay. As Dr. Vidyapeeth was trying to point out, Yogasana is all about, yoga is about asanas. It's not about asanas. That's what he was trying to highlight. He's right. He's definitely right. There are lots of myths and facts because it's easy to access, easy to practice, no norms and regulations. So, the presentation. Everybody knows this definition of health and disease. It's not only about free from disease. It's about a balanced state of well-being, both physically and mentally. And that's what World Health Organization talks about. And disease, it's an abnormality, it's a condition, it's a syndrome. It has got a varied array of complaints arising from one particular part of the body or from an organ. But as a therapist, you need to have a definite relationship between and a conceptual framework of work. You should have a causal relationship. That's what they call in research language. You should try to identify the root for the problem what you have. So always you're just trying to satisfy. Again, come on, Lori, do Lori. Every day. Do Lori. So, how did it start? How did it start? It started with the model of biomedicine. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but this was a state of time where it was mostly doctor-driven. Okay, you see a report, something is abnormal, you give medicine, that's it. And the prescription of the medicine was based on some anecdotal evidence or something like that. It was way back in 18th spots, the early part of the 18th century. That was the evolution of medicine, how it started. So a symptom, headache, you give crocin. Which is just for an example I'm giving. So it was symptom-based treatment. That's what biomedical efforts, and it was purely based on laboratory investigations, and it was purely doctor-driven. Of course, it was the form of medicine which started blooming, and then came the model of biopsychosocial, which involved a little bit around the patient, where the social relationship, the psychological status of the individual was considered for planning the therapeutic approach. This had some sense. Actually, we evolve. We keep evolving. That's what growth is all about. That's what Dr. A.K. was trying to highlight. And again, there was one more model. I'm not going to say something new. It's all there. It's a spirituality added to that. Where come this spirituality had come? And this wonderful model of spirituality added to the evolution of medical treatment is concerned, gives a word of completion. And this research nowadays, if you want to publish a paper, you want to publish, you're badly in need of publishing paper, come on, do a study on oncology. Do a study on a disease where any stage of Alzheimer's disease, any stage of dementia, there is no way that it can get cured. Then at last you start to seek from the supreme power and everything is got right out. That's where the new form of spirituality is coming to the medical approach, which is making it a complete picture. And of course, it still has to evolve more. Who knows what is going to get added more. But it's getting shaped up. That's the ultimate information. Yeah, body awareness. What is body awareness has to do with it? What is body awareness? It is just a knowledge about your own self. Your own self, body parts, its alignment, its position, its shape, its size. Everything is about body awareness. It was widely studied by neuropsychologists, neurophysiologists. Of course, it is concerned with physiotherapists as well. It's an interface between physiology and, I should say, movements. It's between your basic physiology, which is being conveyed to your particular skeleton in the form of neurocognitive approaches based on the sensory inputs. Here I would like to add little things into physiology. There is a concept called Nara. When I heard this word from Dr. Ananda for the first time in PUCC college, I was a little wondering what he's talking about. His lectures are fascinating. Okay. As Dr. Gitananda was talking, none of his own claims are being patented. Can you ever imagine this state of sensory? Like I do something, I would like to keep it myself on my name so that the others are getting benefited on my name. You go to Delhi and you talk about yoga. You'll say, in fact, this Ananda has spoken. This Ananda has spoken. I have his YouTube videos, see? Right. So they study from YouTube videos of Dr. Ananda. Okay, so when he spoke about Nara, it was very amazing. This concept of Nara, it is described and defined as state of dissociated koshas. What really happens? It is getting altered. Let us not get into the depth of what is Nara, but let me just stop with that saying it is dissociated, it is disturbed, it is distorted. Every part of your body is distorted, either body and the mind, or the body and the breath, or the breath or your attitude is getting distorted. How do we equate this Nara to science? When you say you should be aware of your body and your body parts and you are not aware of it, it may be equated to Nara. Nara is a state of altered sensation, altered body awareness. So here I would love to take the privilege of equating Nara to lack of body awareness. And it is very, very essential for physiotherapist on his part to design the therapeutic approaches and to fix up with short-term and long-term goals. And you know this body awareness is embodied in every one of us. Of course, it is partly affected with your childhood behaviors, your psychology you're brought up in your environment. But nevertheless, you have, as a therapist, you have to really work on your body awareness as one of the tools for you to achieve the complete goal. And of course, science is always coming with a tag of confusion. You say one terminology, there will be equally ambiguous terminologies. You'll have 3, 4. You say, this is this. There is 101 hands coming up, that's wrong. That is the fascinating status of science. You have got body schema and body image. What is schema and what is image? Let us not get into the depth of it. Just try to understand both means about your own representation, your imagination about, just for example, I'm standing on my left leg now, my right knee is flexed, so the majority of the weight is going to my left, and there's no weight practically on my right, but when I lift it, I lose my balance. This representation of my own body has to be there for me to achieve and stand and talk in front of me. So this sort of understanding, basic understanding is enough. But if you get into the deep depth of neuropsychology or neurophysiology, they follow certain rules. Just leaving alone the principles and rules, we just try to understand that body awareness you should have, and sometimes it gets lost even in normal individuals. There are a lot of motor learning models. Let me just quickly brush up. For one reason, experiences and experiments gives you a better learning. Experience is the best tool for you to learn. So your best, your ability comes out when you are in the right environment. So when you want to be given a challenge, it should be challenging to you. It is not one and all. If you start taking matrix now, it's going to be tough. If I'm going to start talking about yoga, it's going to be easy. So what is task for you is going to give you a better opportunity for you to learn. Whether you are interested or not, it's not important. Any idea why medical students are being taken to yoga classes? Any idea here? Why yoga classes are being given to medical students, nursing students, physiotherapy students, and why for medical fraternity? Why not give them a chapter why to take classes? Just the experience. So you need to say that all the medical students should have undergo all sort of disease for them to understand. It doesn't sound good. This is a form of approach which you should experience and you should impart it. That's the reason you need to undergo the experience. When it comes to motor learning, I would like to start with 3 words. There are 2 theories. One is called as inverse model and the other one is the forward model. In the forward model, what happens is that you have got 2 phases. Suppose I want to light the lamp. You have this theory. Okay? Theory is here and you are going to light it here. Okay? Your body schema is not adapting to the changing body dynamic model. You need to have a basic model. You know the lamp is here, your hand is here. Your hand should exactly reach to the theory. It has to light, and once if it is over, you have to take it out. There is a static model and there is a dynamic model, and the brain has to adjust to the change of body positions. Joint position sense changes periodically and that has to be monitored. So this theories we need to understand for a better yoga prescription. Again, to put it very precise, body awareness is not common. Ananda says common sense is not common. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes. It has been found that many of us don't have the exact structure in our brain, and that has been well documented over in time. What happens when pain comes? Normally you feel something about your own self. Suppose if it's painful, suppose I had a sprain here, I cannot really think of you all the topic. My mind will be always will be getting stuck to my pain. So this painful stimulus can distort my sensory cortex, which can influence my motor cortex and which can influence my activity. So this pain is always a pain. Again, a beautiful word that is called as orthopagnosia. What is this? It is inability to identify your own body parts. Or you are not able to localize it, or you are not able to feel it, or you are not able to point it out. There are a lot of tools and many approaches to quantify this. Of course, there's a picture what a patient has drawn. See how distorted it is, and how he has tried to point out ears, head, eye. See his body awareness. Coming to the affected part, if you take autistic spectrum disorder, you can see there is an altered response to one's own self. Either the autistic patient, autistic disorder individual will express hyperactivity or he'll be hyperactivity. So the interoceptive stimuluses, and it has been widely documented, the lack of body awareness in autism spectrum disorders. And there is a wonderful word, motor imagery, and it is definitely not a good news for us both, Jolie. And why? Because this article had provided a radical change in physiotherapists in US. I should be the last person to convey you this. This way back in 2015, they have tried to say that motor imagery can be suffice to physical practice. That's a contradictory statement, but this was the beginning of a complete change. And this started making a lot of difference in individuals with spinal cord injuries, hemiplegics, and various other diseases where we cannot really explore and activate the skeletal system of the diseased person. What happens in a damage? For example, you take osteoarthritis of the hand. What happens? This pain will definitely influence the sensory input, and it can definitely disturb your sensory cortex, and that can change your representation in the cortex. So this has been documented by Helen Wilpin, and it has been shown the pain distorts the picture of the hand. Here I have a suggestion that practicing mudras, simple mudras to complicated mudras, unilateral to bilateral, combining with the body, combining with the upper limb and the lower limb, can make a lot of differences. And I think many of the researchers have started with this, and shortly we can expect many papers getting published. Again, what happens in OA hip, in osteoarthritis hip? It's a simple condition where you have a degeneration of the cartilage, because of which pain, deformity arises, your posture is getting altered, your gait is getting altered, everything is getting altered, and body awareness is lost. The primary sensory input of the pain to the hip can influence your body representation, your postural changes, your body image gets distorted, and concentrating on the body awareness makes a lot of difference in the outcome. For a physiotherapist, not just to focus on the pain of the hip. Suppose for a patient comes with a right hip pain, where the diagnosis is osteoarthritis of the hip, not just concentrating on the pain and relieving the pain and improving the movement and etc., etc., etc. Just promoting his body awareness can make a lot of difference. And this is one such an article where they have shown it is equally effective in promoting health, self-efficacy, and quality of life. And of course, he is one of the pioneers, along with many others, yoga practitioners, to bring about change in yogic applications. And time and again, yoga has proved that mindfulness and the physical practice of yoga, asanas, can bring about a change. And these were the pioneers. And again, this is one condition. Okay. As a physiotherapist, we have seen many of the patients coming in the department. And if there is a young lady coming with a painful face, can you guess what condition she is in? 80% to 60% they will have fibromyalgia. It is actually a catastrophizing condition where the patient has got extensive pain, it's a chronic pain. All the investigations are normal, but still the patient will have excruciating pain. She'll keep wandering from place to place and people to people to find a solution. It's really a very bad condition. For this, an 8-week yoga program intervention has proved to be very effective in bringing about good outcome, along with other therapies, along with medications. It has found to be very good. And the conclusion was that fibromyalgia is one of the best conditions which can be treated with yoga. And it is more to do with mindfulness. Again, this interesting study I just wanted to bring about here. Please excuse me if I overdo it. This study was done among yoga practitioners. They just wanted to relate the sense of compassion in yoga practitioners. And as everybody knows, yoga practitioners and their body awareness, or whatever you call body awareness and compassion, they are positively correlated to each other. But unfortunately what happened was this study had a byproduct, which is not such a good thing. It had an anti-altruistic activity among yoga practitioners. Actually, altruism is a character where it is a selfless behavior. But what happened was, too much of practice of yoga made them a little selfish. This was the funniest part of this study, which showed that a selfless behavior was slowly modified and modulated to become selfish characters, and it was more focused to self along with compassion, which was not noted initially, and that was statistically significant. That was the worry.
It's mind yoga.
Yeah, that's very good. Mind. Yeah, very good. Again, Loris do. Pain modulates the representation and the spatial reorganization of the cortical representation in your sensory cortex. And there is one good news. This pain modulated because of pain, because of this altered sensory input, can be modulated with another sense, that is your visual analgesia. Time and again they have tried to modulate the visual inputs to see, by increasing the size of the body part, they were able to produce reduction in pain, and they were reasonably successful in variating the inputs by showing a little bigger or smaller, or just showing the actual size of the limb. And this is where the mirror therapy comes into existence, and that is one area where it is getting explored like anything. And again, Dr. Ramakrishnan, if I'm right, he is the pioneer in mirror therapy Ramachandran, I'm sorry, he's Ramachandran. Ramachandran, he was the pioneer to master this mirror therapy, and this visual distortions of body size definitely has got a modulatory effect to the sensory input from the periphery to the primary sensory cortex, and so that's where our yogic practices can have a say in distorting the pain. Suppose you have pain in the right lower limb, this can definitely distort your representation in your cortex, and once you start practicing graduated, well-planned yoga program where you can really remodulate the pain components of pain. Again, if somebody says yoga helps low back pain, nobody's ready to believe it, especially in our country. But I'm afraid, today morning after seeing Lori's lecture, I think Western practice have gone into the depth of yoga, not just the physical part, but the mental aspect, and they are practicing it. And I wanted to share, but I have taken the slide off. It is the amount of yoga being practiced and adapted in Western practice, especially in US. There is a wonderful article where they have narrated so beautifully the physiological and the philosophical concepts of yoga in the physiotherapy practice. Here you see this chronic low back pain. There's a chronic ailment throughout the world. You go to, even to Mars, you find some alien, he will have a back pain. There's nobody without back pain. And this back pain, if it exists, if it continues to exist for more than 3 months, it is called as chronic. And if it is more than 3 months to 6 months, it is definitely chronic, and the pain is not from your back. Okay, so don't feel offended. Every one of us will have, even I have. So it is not from your back, and it is from your mind. It is called a central sensitivity, where your brain gets accommodated to the increased sensory perception, and even the peripheral part inflammation or whatever is gone up, still the brain thinks the pain still exists as long as you try to relearn or re-alter or remodulate your sensory feedback. You had back pain today, okay? Tomorrow, day after, the next, it should be like this. But what happens here is, you have back pain today, even after 3 months I walk like this. So I get used to this posture rather than coming out of it. So that's where the intervention of yoga therapy in remodulating and thinking about the body awareness really makes some sense. Not just at the physical level, but at the mental level of improving your coping skills. And Melling et al. In 2005 have found that the best physiotherapy modality or physiotherapy approach is equally good to that of breath therapy, bringing about the coping skills and making the activities of daily living more useful. Okay, now let me all give you a test. I have seen, and now I'm seeing most of them have had a good amount of curd rice. Yes, you had a curd rice? Yes. How was it? Delicious. The dangerous part of it is you having curd rice little more than what you are supposed to. And the effect is widely seen here. Now let me put, and one of Ananda sir's heart feeling is that he has put my lecture after the lunch. That's a wonderful lunch. You cannot restrict it. You woke up. Hello. Yes. Now let me all give you a test. Close your eyes. Sit straight. Sit straight. Close your eyes. Look up. I said close your eyes and look up. So you'll be closing your eyes, but you'll be lifting your neck up. So you'll be moving your neck up, down, down, turn to your right, turn to your left, again turn to your right, turn to your left, come to the center and slowly open your eyes. How many of you landed on the same spot as when you started? How many of you started from here, you went through all about, and when I asked you to open your eyes, you were on the same spot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, man, it's too bad. You were looking down.
I was.
Yeah,
okay.
I was. Majority of you have a good joint position. Okay. As I said, it's not easy to practice physiotherapy in JIPMER, it's such a big crowd. But this one asana, which was taught by Dr. Ananda to me, of course Dr. Meena Madam also to me, called as Brahma Mudra. A wonderful, wonderful asana. Pranayamic practice actually, which has really brought about a wonderful change in the quality of life of all my patients. You know, when you go and talk to a patient, say that, come on, do this exercise, it gives you good effect. He says, you say it for all the ailments, but that's the hard thing which we get it from. But suppose a patient to whom I am talking to, and suppose another patient comes, he gives you a feedback saying that, hey, really worked out, man, try it out. It speaks volumes. So that sort of, because we move with a lot of crowd. Okay, when you talk to one person, the other person hears. So this sort of feedback I got for this wonderful Brahma Muhurta. And it is still in practice. We have completed a study. We are still on the verge of completing a manuscript. We are very lazy. We are still going on and on. We hope it gets over fast. So, in Joe's PT, there was a clinical practice guidelines which highlighted patient counseling is an important part of treatment as far as physical therapy prescription is concerned. And here I would like to highlight these three columns where you see the physiotherapy intervention and the yoga therapy intervention. Even though it goes on similar lines, there is a little higher slope in yoga therapy where it tries to work on the cause. That's where the effectiveness of yoga therapy lies. For example, you say pain, for example. You just try to work on reducing the pain in physiotherapy approach. Whereas in yoga therapy, you try to make them to teach how to manage the pain. Then you are working more centrally, you are working a little peripherally. I'm not trying to put physiotherapy a little low, but the conceptual framework with yoga therapy approaches and neck pain patient is completely different aspect of physiotherapy. It improves the pain tolerance. You try to improve the tolerance. You just take up that swadhyaya. You try to understand yourself. You try to see what is the cause of the pain. How you can manage pain. What will you do if you have an acute pain? This sort of health education and counseling is very essential in pain management as far as physiotherapy is concerned. Is the main core of yoga therapy. That is where I would like to highlight. I'm not going to talk in detail about what we have done, but this is in short, we have tried to work on pain, insomnia, stiffness, and irritability. Of course, we had wonderful results with yoga therapy with simple tools. But I'll tell you one thing. Why yoga therapy fails? Because you have certain tools with which you are supposed to show the evidence, which is actually applicable for modern medicine. That is where the hitch is. And if you want to do some evaluation, it's mostly predominantly subjective and we lack objective parameters. That's where we fail. That's why any yoga therapist to start with, he'll start with full confidence. After one research product, he's gone down. Boom. I don't find this, I don't find that, I find this. I believe in me, sir. Sorry, I'm stressed out. See, this sort of attitude comes because the parameter setting is the difficult part in yoga research. Of course, tools are coming up, not only with neck pain, OA, rheumatoid arthritis, but all in wide array of neurological disorders. For example, Dr. AK was trying to highlight about dementia, Alzheimer's. Parkinson's is not so far. Yoga therapy has proved time and again in Parkinson's, it has said to improve the condition. But believe me, all this yoga therapy approach in neurological conditions has to go hand in hand with allopathy. We cannot try to deviate or deprive any form of approach. It has to go hand in hand. So the word holistic. And if you see the bottom of the paper, in Swiyasa they have developed a yoga module for Parkinson's. That's a fantastic news for Parkinson's patients. I'm very, very confident in another 2 to 3 years, you can see, based on this yoga module, we have hundreds of papers coming up from now. I'm sorry, from West to practice, because they are ready, awaiting for this yoga module. We people, we are not that smart enough to recognize these sort of wonderful things. Now we say, it's wasted. We are very good at criticizing. You are not even taking the pain in going through the papers, whatever the thing, what they have done, how they have done, is it worth it or it is not worth it. But just looking at it, it's this. But Westerners are not. They are very simple. They just go to the depth of it. And they do it and they think about it. I'm very sure in another 2 years, we can see a lot of papers coming based on this model, and full credits to Swasa. As it goes, when I said biomedical, biopsychosocial, and I said adequate spiritual, now a multidisciplinary approach for treatment of chronic low back pain is the best form of approach. Vasishta Vayal Brahma Rishi, that is what the wording goes. Vasishta will never appreciate anybody. If he says Brahma Rishi, Cochrane is something like Vasishta. Okay? Because Cochrane never and ever, you see Cochrane will never, Leviathan will say, may be indicated, may be followed. It is likely to improve, but still is want to be done. So they have come up with the author saying that multidisciplinary biopsychosocial rehabilitation is an essential core item in treating chronic low back pain, and of course yoga is a part of that approach, and this has proved to be very effective. This is the best slide. I wish I could put it in front of you. I started with asanas, healing exercises. For everybody, you need to have a therapy. We talk about philosophy, we talk about psychology, we talk about physiology. But when it comes to Kutusami and Ramasamy, you have to convey something. You cannot go and talk to Kutusami saying that, come on, pain is normal, yeah. He will just look at you like anything. You cannot talk to these people, I mean anybody for that matter, when they are suffering with pain. You cannot go and just like that impart philosophy. Yoga is all about learning. When learning comes, there has to be willingness from the other side. You cannot impart. You cannot say, come on, learn yoga. You're not going to. The more you impart, the more you detach from the person. It has to be a learning process from the patient side. So it has to be slow, it has to be watchful, it takes a lot of time. So when I started my presentation, I was talking more about pain, body awareness, asanas, physical part. Now I am going to the molecular level. That is, your telomere activity are getting altered with yoga practice. In recent years, extensive research has been done in your genetical expression. And Dr. Srinivasan, he talks so fluently in genetical expression, genetic modulation in yoga. He says, I don't want science to prove the effectiveness of yoga. It can represent and prove itself. That's the statement what he usually makes. He often makes. This particular article which you are seeing at the bottom, a review article which speaks about the changes in the gene expression, and the best news is that it has a measurable effect. It is not a subjective parameter, it is an objective parameter with which they have found the genetical expression getting modulated and altered in practice of yogasanas and yoga practices. Of course, it has a physiology and a philosophy, but you have to get through some way or other. Just like that, you cannot push the philosophy inside. You need to have a doorstep. You need to open up and get inside the Manomaya Kosha and start to intervene. So I just feel that these healing exercises are required for you to achieve greater heights. Okay, why should we practice yoga as a physiotherapist? Again, I'm very selfish. I've developed like anti-altruism activity in my mind, but nevertheless, I would like to ask you, why should you practice as a yoga therapist, as a physiotherapist, as a Siddha doctor, as a medical doctor? Why should you practice yoga? Is it for you or it is for your patient? How many of you say it is for you? How many of you say it is for patients? Yes. It's mutual. Sorry. Both. It's for both.
See, I will try to explain. Patient we are only aware, it's for patient, as a therapy. But as a doctor, if I am practicing yoga, I know I can teach better. I will really know if he is doing properly or not, because I have experience. As a yoga practitioner, I will be very calm and relaxed, and more efficient physician. And you know, the doctors are very much tense within morning. In the US also, the incidence of many problems is more in doctors, teachers than patients, common. and maximum suicide among psychiatrists. That's why for both.
It's for both. So, as long as you are going to be healthy, as long as you are going to be balanced, samasthiti, you cannot impart anything on your patients. So, you need to be in samasthiti to establish a connection and to achieve the concept, a wonderful concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. Dr. Ananda time and again tries to highlight you should be a part of yourself and to your patients. So that establishes a good rapport. As Dr. Betty was trying to highlight, look at the patient's eyes, listen to him and talk to him. That's the best part what you need to have. And by achieving this, as he rightly said in the morning, Lori said, the ultimate happiness is the bliss, that is Ananda. The Ananda what you are going to achieve. Practice yoga, establish a good connection with your patient, have that compassion towards the patient, empathy towards the patient, a rare commodity nowadays. We never have. Try to get acquired and just try to have that Ananda. You just try to achieve the bliss, the eternal bliss. And that's the purpose of yoga, being practiced and being imparted on your patients. So, this is a wonderful art from Mani in Salem. The biomedical was looking like this, a lady in black and white. And when the psychosocial part was added, some coloring was done. So it's a little charm in the face of the lady. And when the spiritual part was added, what happened was, like in the completion, you see the supreme power there blessing you, the amount of prayer, the amount of devotion, the selfless attitude, as Dr. Betty was telling, the japa, the prayers, the satsanga, the music therapy, whatever it is, it's all to be your spiritual aspect of it, which is your mental well-being, is being maintained and culture. And I would love to survive and see the next form of medicine, how it is going to be and how it is going to help our form of medicine. So this wonderful picture, please remember, never go back to this. Okay. Having seen this, you should never think of that. So now, I would like to say, is it a myth or a fact? It is definitely not a myth. It's an evident fact with a therapeutic advocacy. That's the word I would like to say. If you would like to say yoga is a science, it needs to have certain do's and don'ts, and it depends on the advocacy and the prescription. Now tell me, which place is this? One of the best medical institutions the world has witnessed. JIPMER. I would love to see that. But I'm very proud of my institution. No hard feelings, but I would love to see JIPMER like this. But any cases?
CMC
CMC Hospital. The bio, psycho, socio, spiritual aspect was understood way back in 18th century by this lady with this Karma Yogi. Can you just guess the name? She is none other than Ida Skadar, Dr. Ida Skadar. She was the founder of CMC Hospital, and still this hospital is successfully running because of the structure and the conceptual model which was derived way back centuries ago. They had you could see the best form of approach, and the doctors from CMC, you see, they will walk with China, I'm from CMC. Okay, that sort of attitude is there. It is because of the concept and the model they have way back 2 centuries before. And ladies and gentlemen, a holistic approach will always be very, very effective. Anyone is lagging, incomplete. So the take-home message is holistic and medical approach with evidence will always give you the desired result. And thanks for the wonderful opportunity.
Dr. Mohanakrishnan has given us a very, very beautiful journey, a journey which reminds us that once you start to see the holistic picture, don't go back to that black and white, half clear, unclear image. And I think it's so important that we realize we are gifted at this point in time to have the potential of this type of perspective opening up to us in the medical fraternity. A couple of decades ago it wasn't there. So we are definitely, I don't know if we are the right people, but we are here at the right time. So if we can make ourselves the right people at the right time, the right thing is going to happen. So once again, a big applause to Mohanakrishnan for his wonderful presentation.